Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another Create a Sim. Today we are going to be starting with our first residence of Forgotten Hollow, and that is going to be Cruella and her two henchmen, Jasper and Horace. So they are going to obviously be living in the De Vil Manor, and that is the speed build that I did in my previous video. Make sure you check that out in the Disney Save playlist linked down in my description box below. That was my first speed build for Forgotten Hollow. I'm really excited obviously to create lots of characters, but it is also really fun to finally be able to get to a really iconic character like Cruella herself. Up until this point, you know, there are a lot of characters that I've created, but we haven't gotten to some of those like super iconic Disney characters, and obviously Cruella is definitely one of them. So I really hope you like my version of her today. Cruella's aspiration is that she wants to be fabulously wealthy. She is an evil, snob, materialistic sim. She's going to be a part of the fashion designer career, probably already maxed out all the way at the top. I picture her as like a high-ranking CEO of some major fashion brand, like obviously a Sims equivalent of like a Prada or something like that. She's very like runway, high fashion, and I could definitely picture her like maxed out in all of those kinds of very artistic types of skills. Cruella is a snobby heiress obsessed with fashion and furs. A highly paid stylist in her own right, Cruella is at the top of the fashion world. From morning to late evening, she is always wearing business or formal attire, no matter the occasion. Absolutely reckless and impulsive, Cruella gets what she wants when she wants it. She will steal, lie, and cheat her way through any situation. Most important to Cruella's personality is her deep obsession with fur. Sprawled out all over her home and a staple in every design Cruella creates, fur is her bread and butter. She has no interest in the ethics or means by which the furs end up in her wardrobe, just that she has every kind she could want. Particularly, she loves mink fur, but has also taken up an interest in black and white furs to match her signature hair. Cruella's hobbies include fashion, designing runway clothes, art, smoking, and of course furs. So if you did catch my De Vil Manor speed build, I did create a studio for her downstairs where she's going to be able to create anything that she wants to, and obviously I picture that she would work in some kind of a maybe like a city setting, like a building, and she would have her studio at home as well to also create designs. And at the end of the day, that's something that she would obviously personally be really interested in. But if you've seen 101 Dalmatians, you know that she is absolutely a nasty, ruthless, selfish character. She is as evil and wicked as they come, and literally like skin-crawling, mean, horrible person of the world. So I definitely think she's in good company with some of the other villains characters that we're going to have coming up in this world. She is notably probably going to be an exception to the fact that a lot of this world's going to be very heavy on occults, and she's going to be a human, but she's still ruthless in her own right, and I think that she's going to find herself in good company here. Now, something that's important to know obviously is that we didn't have any jackets that I could necessarily put her in. Jackets are not like an extra accessory piece that you can throw over the top of an outfit. They really need to add something like that because it could really step up like Sims games quite a bit, but I think that this outfit still kind of represents the idea of it. Underneath that mink fur coat, she's wearing like a longer body hugging black dress, and then they did have the one with the fur at the top. So you will notice, even though I didn't really include all of her outfits in today's video, every one of her outfits is going to have some variation of a type of fur. So that idea is definitely still included in her wardrobe. The other thing that was really tricky was her hair. We do actually have one hair from Cats and Dogs that is a split dye hair that matches her in white and black, and it's nice. It's a split dye, but it doesn't really look like her actual hair. It's more of like a modern version of it, and I really had a hard time with picking one out. So I actually went over to my patrons and they sort of helped me decide which hair that I was actually going to use, but I'm going to leave the other ones as options if you ended up liking one of the other ones better. So they will be options in like her primary everyday attire as like separate categories. Now we are moving on to her henchmen, Jasper and Horace. So Jasper is kind of like the primary one. I want to say Jasper and Horace are very generic characters. They don't really have too much about them personality-wise or any, like, individual interests. So the only reason that they're really being included is just to add more characters to the household in general. And I think that it will be cool to have them running around just doing, like, criminal tasks and generally being little thieves for Cruella and, like, her helpers and handymen. So we definitely want to include, like, the henchmen type of characters. And they will live with Cruella in her house. If you missed it, I did actually make a bedroom for them. It's really shabby and kind of just like mattresses on the floor and really dirty and not anything like spectacular, which I think is definitely right up their alley. So with Jasper here, his aspiration is public enemy. He is hot-headed, self-absorbed, and a slob. He's going to be in the criminal career. Jasper is the leader of the Bad Done duo. He usually finds work for him and his brother. Right now, that includes doing odd-end jobs and gruesome tasks for Cruella De Vil. Jasper won't accept backtalk from anyone and respects nobody but himself. He's not even afraid of Cruella herself. He does everything on his own time. Sure, he'll steal or rob anything you want, but ask him when he's done watching TV. Jasper can be very manipulative and abusive. He doesn't have friends outside of his brother. Jasper enjoys drinking and watching TV. He makes enough money to get him and his brother by and doesn't enjoy much else. Even if he had his own home, it's unlikely he would take care of it anyway. He doesn't care for material things in the way of collecting or becoming fabulously wealthy. He just doesn't agree with the 9-to-5 lifestyle and could never hold a job where someone is in charge of his time. And then we have his brother Horus, which I didn't know they were actually brothers, but according to Disney Wiki, they are in fact brothers. He is also going to be a public enemy. His traits include slob, kleptomaniac, and foodie, and he will also be in the criminal career. Horus is the more passive of the Bad Done brothers, usually following his brother Jasper's lead. He is often abused and yelled at by his brother, but still an evil man in his own right. Largely driven by money, Horus will do anything for some cash. He loves food and tends to be very sloppy. Jasper and Horus are always on the move from job to job, but they found themselves doing so much work for Cruella, from stealing to playing bodyguard, that they've temporarily taken up residence in one of Cruella's abandoned bedrooms. When they're not out being criminals, they tend to sit around, drink, and watch TV late into the night. Horus loves food, but is completely incapable of cooking anything besides some basic mac and cheese and maybe a bowl of cereal. If he wanted something more high-end, he would be more likely to dine and dash at an expensive restaurant. So again, very generic characters. Their clothing, though, I do want to say it was a little bit difficult to pick out what colors I was going to use for their clothes. Obviously, they both wear like variations of a turtleneck with that signature hat and kind of a jacket and some longer slacks and nicer shoes, believe it or not. But the color choices varied from reference to reference. I actually went with the reference from the thumbnail where they're both wearing like variations of brown and green, but sometimes they're depicted as wearing red, sometimes it's blue, sometimes it was like these fully brown and black outfits. It entirely depends on if it is 101 or 102 Dalmatians or like a coloration variant of the live actions or any of that stuff. And I believe there might have been a TV show. I'm not 100% sure. So just know that in general, I tried to keep their outfits similar to what you saw in the first movie, but the color variations can change a little bit here and there with some of these older movies. And that is actually going to be the end of today's Creative Sim. I really hope you guys enjoyed our first characters of Forgotten Hollow. Let me know what you thought of them down below. If you would like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in the description box down below or the link at the end of the video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Hit that little bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I post, and I will talk to you all in the next one.